In this course, you'll learn how to easily build a website with the Muffin Live Builder. Let's go. All right, so at this point, if you're a WordPress developer or you're building websites for clients using WordPress, then I bet you're already familiar with visual builders. These allow you to use a simple interface to edit the contents of your websites in real time. You can add new blocks of content, edit existing ones, delete blocks, and so on. Essentially, they allow you to create or edit a website without any coding involved. And that means that even a business owner with, let's say, limited technical know-how can create a new website. Now, there are quite a few builders available. Some are independent plugins like Elementor, which will work with any theme you have installed, while others come bundled with a WordPress theme, like for example, Divi. Well, in this course, I want to show you a fantastic visual builder which belongs in the second category. It's called the Muffin Live Builder, and it comes bundled with the Betheme, which at the time of this recording is the third best-selling WordPress theme on ThemeForest with almost 250,000 sales. But hey, if we're just meeting, my name is Adi Pordila. I'm a web designer from Romania, and my goal with these courses is to help as many people as possible become better web designers and developers. This is going to be a pretty straightforward course. In the first lesson, I'll give you a more in-depth look at the Muffin Live Builder. We'll install it, and we'll also create a simple website using one of its templates. In the other two lessons, we'll customize that website by changing the logo, fonts, colors, and eventually the content. Now, earlier, I mentioned Elementor. That's another great visual builder, and what I really like about it is the fact that you can get separate templates from places like Envato Elements. Get unlimited downloads of WordPress themes and plugins, web templates, and UI kits with Envato Elements. That's millions of creative assets all ready to use and with simple commercial licensing. Plus, no lock-in contract means you can cancel anytime. Subscribe now with the link in the description. All right, let's get started by learning a little bit more about the Muffin Live Builder. That's coming up next. So, what is the Muffin Live Builder? Well, as the name suggests, it's a page builder for WordPress. More specifically, it's the front-end builder for the Betheme, which is created by the Muffin Group. So let me show you where you can get it, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper in the installation process. The Muffin Live Builder is part of Betheme, which is a responsive multi-purpose WordPress and WooCommerce theme available for sale on ThemeForest. Up to date, it has almost 250,000 sales. So it's a super popular theme. Now, the only way you can get the builder is by purchasing the theme. It's not available separately, but instead it's actually bundled with the theme. And I think that's actually a good thing because with the theme, you actually have 650 plus pre-built websites or templates you can choose from to get your website up and running in no time. So this is where you can get the theme. I already bought it. So I'm going to go to my downloads page and I'm going to download the theme. And I'm also going to get the license certificate and purchase code. We're going to need this in order to register the theme and get access to all of its features. Right, and here you can see that that license, some parts of it will be blurred out, like for example the item purchase code, but this is the one that you're going to need to register the theme. So just keep this handy. For this course, I'm using a local version of WordPress. And to install the new theme, I'll go to Appearance, Themes, Add New, Upload, choose File, and then I'm going to choose the btheme.zip file. So I'm going to hit upload, install now, and let's go ahead and activate the theme. Now, to get access to all of the theme features, you need to register the theme by using the ThemeForest purchase code I showed you earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that code right here. And now that my theme is registered, I can start using it right away. So let's say that I want to create a landing page with the Betheme. Well, I can go to pre-built websites, and here you can see the entire list of the 650 plus templates you can choose from. There are a lot of them, by the way. Golf, call center, flower shop, theater, factory, and so on and so forth. They cover pretty much any trade or any type of website that you would want to create. There are also some filters up here, and you can click them to filter the items here based on that particular item. For example, if you want like blog themes, these are the ones, business themes, and so on and so forth. Personally, I want a landing page, so I'm gonna use the search functionality. And here you can see that some themes are also compatible with Elementor by this little icon right here. And of course, they are all compatible with the Muffin Live Builder, which you can see from this icon right here. So if you click on a theme, you can also get a preview of that theme using either the Muffin Builder or Elementor. From what I've been testing so far, I like this one, Landing 3. That's in the business category. So I'm going to go ahead and install that theme. But before I do that, Betheme tells me that, hey, you should install Revolution Slider and Contact Form 7 plugins. These are required for that particular demo to work properly. So let's go to our plugins. And here it says this theme recommends the following plugins. So I'm going to install. Let's install all of them. And by the way, these are bundled with the Betheme. So that's a very nice touch. Normally you would have to buy them separately, but since this is a premium theme, it includes all of these nice plugins. All right, so the plugins have been successfully installed. Now we just have to activate the ones that we need, and that was Contact Form 7, so activate that, and also Slider Revolution. So activate that. And now let's go back to pre-built websites. I'm going to search for landing again. Landing 3. Install. Now it tells me the plugins it needs are active. Let's hit next. This is going to ask for a database reset. This is recommended, by the way. You can skip it if you want. But since I'm starting a new project on this local installation, I'm very comfortable with resetting the database. So just reset it. And here I'm just gonna choose complete pre-built website with media and the Revolution Slider demo. So let's install it. And there we go. Landing 3 has been successfully installed. So now we can go to preview website. And just like that, that template has been installed with all the demo content. You can see the contact form here as well from Contact Form 7 plugin. How easy was that? And that's all we'll do in this lesson. Now let's take a look at some key takeaways. The Muffin Live Builder is the front-end builder of Betheme. Betheme has over 650 pre-built websites included. Betheme is also compatible with Elementor and Elementor Pro. So now that we installed Betheme and we got a simple website started, let's go ahead and customize that website. And we'll begin in the next lesson with the logo, favicon, colors, and fonts. See you there. All right, so now that we know what the Muffin Live Builder is and we started building a landing page with it, let's begin customizing that landing page. Now, when doing this, you can either go for the content first, so change the text, images, whatever you have, and then worry about the colors, typography, and all the other bits and bobs, or you can go the other way around. Personally, I like changing the colors and typography first and then worry about the content. So let's get started by changing these as well as the logo and favicon. For that, we will go back to our backend here under Betheme. We'll go to Theme Options, and under Global, Logo, let's go ahead and change it right here. And I'm also gonna open up a new tab here so we can see those changes happening on the front end. So this is the logo that we want to change. Thankfully, it's super simple to do. All you got to do is click Browse. That's going to take you to the media library. If you don't have that file yet, the new logo, just go ahead and select Files. And I prepared 3 images for this project. This is a logo that I got from Envato Elements, and you can find a link down below. So I have 3 files here. This is the logo. It's an SVG file. This is the Apple Touch icon. It's a PNG file, 180 by 180 pixels. And this is the favicon, also a PNG, 32 by 32. Right now we're interested in the logo, so let's grab that, select. And where it says Retina logo, this is for when you're using a PNG or a JPEG image or any image that's not really an SVG. So basically a Retina logo should be twice as big as your original logo. But since we're using an SVG, we can just simply use the same image here. Now this theme has this sticky header, and you can actually specify a different logo for it if you want. Personally, I'm going to use the exact same one, but it's going to be made smaller from CSS. The theme will do that automatically for you. Now, this is where you need to pay a little more attention. If you're using an SVG logo like we do, you need to specify a logo width. For me personally, I'm going to use 64 pixels as the width. And then for the height, I'm going to use 80 pixels. And then I'm going to keep 15 pixels top and bottom as the default. Vertical align, I'm going to keep it at middle. And this is where you can change the behavior for the sticky navigation. So if you want to use the exact same logo as in your normal header, you need to check this box. But if you want the theme to make it smaller, you leave it unchecked. So we're going to save changes and we're going to refresh, and there it is. That is my SVG logo, which, because it's a vector format, will look great on any size or screen resolution or screen density, or actually pixel density. And as you can see on the sticky navigation, the theme automatically makes it smaller. Cool. So that's the logo. Let's see about the favicon. For that, we'll go to General, scroll down, and in the icon section, you can see that they recommend an ICO format, but I found that you get much better results with a PNG. And that PNG can be any size. I chose to make mine 32 by 32. So I'm going to choose this, select, and also the Apple Touch icon, which will be used, this one. 180 by 180 pixels PNG. So this favicon, in case you don't know, will be displayed in the tab bar right here. So once we save the changes and we do a refresh, Safari will actually take a while until it updates its favicons, but if I open this website in Chrome, for example, you will see that instead of that BE favicon, we have ours. So for now, we're just going to take it on good authority that this favicon will be changed. Now, let's see about typography, because right now, I don't really like the font that's being used, and I want to add my own. So how can we do that? Very easily, we can go to the theme options again, and we scroll down until we find fonts. And as you can see, by default, it's using Lotto for everything. And the font that I want to use is called Quicksand. It's available from Google Fonts. So I'm just going to select it here for every single use, like that. And let's also choose the weights and styles that we want to load. I'm going to choose 300, just in case I want to use it, 400 regular and regular italic. I'm going to skip 500. I'm going to load 600 semi-bold and 700 bold. The Quicksand font doesn't have any weights beyond 700 anyway, so I'm just going to go with these. Once you're happy with the changes, save. And now if we do a quick refresh, you'll see that the fonts have been changed in almost every places. I'll show you how to change this in just a little bit, but it's changed here, it's changed here, it's changed here on the body text, but it's not changed in the button. So for certain elements, you need to change the properties separately. They don't like inherit the styles that you set in your theme options. So for the buttons in particular, you need to go to Global Buttons. You can see that here we're using a custom button style, and under font family, let's go ahead and choose Quicksand for that. And I'm going to choose the 700 bold as the font weight and style. And by the way, since we're here, this is how you can customize the buttons. You can basically change their font size, the letter spacing, the padding. For example, let's say I want 16 pixels of padding top and bottom, and maybe 48 pixels top and right. You can also change the border radius. Let's make it a bit more rounded, or you can decrease it and make it less rounded. You can also see a nice preview here in the bottom, which is really, really cool. So in my case, I'm just gonna use like 50 pixel radius to get a pill effect for the buttons. And here you can also change the colors. We'll get back to this in just a little bit. For now, let's save the changes, refresh, and this is our updated button. Now, I told you that I'm going to show you how to save or change this text right here. Well, this is part of a slider, right? This demo uses slider revolution for this, and it has a nice animation. If we reload, you can see that it kind of gets animated into view. So to change that, we need to go to slider revolution, home landing 3. This is the demo that's been used. And then we can just select that text. We can go to style, and we can change the text properties here. And under font family, let's go for Quicksand as well. And of course, you can see this live. You can resize it if you want, move it around, just position it the way you like it. So we'll save that. And now if we go back, you'll see that we have an updated slide title right here. So those were the fonts that we changed. But what about the font sizes? How would you go about changing those. Maybe you feel that this is a little too big, or maybe this is a little too small. I don't know. It really depends on what you want to do. Well, to change the font sizes, it's very easy as well. You would go to fonts again, and you have a different subcategory here. So here we change the font family, but now we can click size and style, and we can start changing things up here. So maybe you want a different line height for the content, or a different font weight or style. Then you can change the page title just in the same way. And then you have individual access for all the headings. And what I like to do for these types of projects, I can open a website or a tool called the Typescale. And here I can enter my base font size, and that's the font size of your body text. And then I can choose a scale, and that's going to create a typographic scale for me, where every single font size is based on this base font size and the scale that we chose, right? So this is a much easier way of creating the typography for a new website. So just in case you don't like the font sizes for these elements right here, well, you can use this tool. You can choose whatever scale you want, and then you can get the pixel values, and you can come in here and change this. For example, let's say the H1, I want it to be 67 pixels, right? And you can go here, you can say, okay, 67 pixels. You need to do a little bit of calculation for the line height. Usually for these types of headings, I would go for 1.3, 1.4 line height. So 64 multiplied by 1.3 or 1.4, that gives me an 89.6. And we'll just round that off to 90 line height. And here you can choose the font weight and style. Personally, I think I want all of these to be bold until like H5, and these I want to get semi-bold, and maybe this I wanted to make it regular. And once you're happy with the changes, click Save Changes, refresh, and you'll see that some of the elements have been changed. For example, the font weight for most of these, and also the line height for the body text has been changed. And you can just keep on going back and forth, figuring out which font sizes you want to use, maybe see which ones will look the best. But this interface here really makes it super simple. You can also add your own fonts if you want. So if you don't like Google fonts, you're using a proprietary font, maybe from a different foundry, then you can give it a name. Here you can upload the WOFF and the TTF files, and you can add as many as you'd like. So that's, that concludes the part about typography. I made just a few changes here and there to get this website closer to where I want it to be in terms of its design. So now let's see about the colors. And with colors, it's a similar story. You go to the Muffin options and you scroll down to colors. And here you can actually get or use a few different skins that the authors made, or you can grab a custom skin and customize those colors independently. So there are quite a few options here. Obviously, in general, you can only find usually some backgrounds, but then you can dive a little bit deeper. Like, for example, the menu, right? Let's say you want to change this turquoise color to the color of your logo, right? Well, let's go ahead and grab that. And you can go in here under active link color, and you can paste in the new color, or you can use the color picker to select it that way. All right, so now when you save the changes, You'll see that on refresh, we now have a different color for that menu. What else? Maybe you want to change the color of these headings. You don't like the blue, you want something more like this, right? So I just randomly picked that color. And again, you can go to the colors and then headings, and you'll see that every single heading is using the same color. So you can just copy and paste and then save changes. And now all of the headings will use the color that you just specified. It's super, super simple. Now, what about the buttons? Let's go ahead and change the color on the buttons, and we'll wrap up this lesson. So for the buttons, some colors will actually be found in the dedicated options page for that particular element, and buttons is a good example. So you need to go to global and then buttons, and you'll find color controls right here. So let's say I want to change these button colors to the same one I'd be using for the menu, which is this one, right? And then I can copy it here. This is the hover state, and I can use the picker here to either grab a lighter color or a darker color, something like that. We also have a highlighted button color. For that, let's use, I don't know, maybe a dark color like this. So let's grab that there and there. And for the hover, let's make this just a little bit lighter, something like this. Okay, so let's save changes. And now our buttons will go from this to this. Right, it's super simple. And the highlighted button that we used, well, that's used right here in the form. And that's what it looks like. Now, some colors, or the color for some elements, is actually set in line, independent of whatever it is we're setting here in the theme options. And one good example of that is this paragraph right here, which if we do a quick inspection, right, you'll see that the color is actually set in line as a style on the paragraph. So regardless of whatever it is we're setting in the options panel under colors, that paragraph will always use the color defined here. And I'll show you how you can change that in the next lesson when we actually start editing with the Muffin Live Builder. But for now, this is how you can edit colors based or using the theme options. You can take care of most from the back end, but there are some, as I've been saying, that can only be changed from the Muffin Live Builder. And by the way, if you want to make some changes to elements that are not available in the Live Builder or the backend, so the theme options, you can use the custom CSS and JavaScript functionality. So to give you an example of that, let's scroll down till we reach this form. And this is a nice looking form, but the one thing that I don't like is the very low padding that's inside these elements. And they're also too rounded for my taste. Now, currently there are no theme options you can use to make these or to change their characteristics. So what you can do is you can right click in your browser and inspect elements. Most modern browsers have this functionality. And then you would obviously select the element that you want to change. And under the computed style attributes here, we will search for whatever style sets the padding for the element. So it does that right here. It sets a padding at 10 pixels, and that's a bit too low. So what I'm going to do is actually copy these styles. And I'm going to go to custom CSS and JavaScript. I'm going to paste them right here. And then I'm going to set my own padding of, let's say, 1 rem. So I'm going to save the changes. And now when I refresh, you'll see that the padding is now changed. And for the border radius, well, that's a setting that I can find in the theme options. So we'll go to, let's see, colors, forms, and you can see that the border radius is set here. Let's set that to 8 pixels. Save. And now on refresh, we get the form elements that I want. All right, so with a couple of customizations already done to our landing page, let's take a look at a few key takeaways. When working with a template, it's usually a good idea to change the fonts you're using so they match your product or service. Use a maximum of 2 fonts if they're different, or a maximum of 3 if they belong to the same family. Regardless of the type of website, it's best to use as few colors as possible. Go for a main color for links, buttons, and anything you want to emphasize. An accent color can be used for a few elements that are less important. Use a solid dark gray for text with 1 or 2 lighter variations, but avoid pure black. Where possible, use SVG images. The favicon can be a larger PNG, not necessarily an ICO format. All right, so with these customizations done, we can already see a big difference compared to the original template. Now, all that's left to do is to change the actual content of the page, and this might take a while depending on how much content you have, but these visual builders usually make it super simple for you to do that. So in the next lesson, I'll show you how to do some key customizations when it comes to the content of your new website. I'll see you there. All right, now it's time to change the content of our landing page to match whatever product or service you're selling. And in this course, I'm not going to change the entire page content, but instead focus on some key areas and explain the process of making those changes. So let's go. To start making changes to the content, we're going to click Edit with Muffin Live Builder. And finally, you'll get to see this builder in action. This is really cool. It actually gives you a nice guide here to begin with. And this is one of my favorite builders so far because of the way it works, because of the interface. It's really, really nice to use. Now, by default, it starts with this screen for adding items, and you can find a lot of blocks of content that you can add. For example, if you want to add some tabs, you would simply click and drag and position those wherever you would like, right? And then to select an item, you can simply hover on it and you can click and that's going to select it, or you can click this little edit icon right here. And in the sidebar, you can change the properties for that particular object. So for example, you can change the title here, and then for this particular type of content, you can edit the tabs right here. You can add new ones, you can delete, and once everything is said and done, you can just hit update. If you want to delete an object, you can simply click here, delete element, and it's done. We also have a responsive mode right here. So we can click this, we can choose a preset and see how our website will look like on different screen sizes. So here it is on the desktop, here it is on the tablet, and here it is on mobile. And you can make certain changes to that particular size and they will be saved. Also, one important thing to note here is that not all elements can be changed from the Live Builder. For example, this menu, I cannot change it from the Live Builder. Or this slider here. This is from Slider Revolution, so you would have to edit that in the Slider Revolution interface. Also, the footer, right? As you can see, the Live Builder only has access to about here. So this is the last element that you can change with the builder. But this stuff here belongs to a different interface. This is actually customizable from the widgets area because these are WordPress widgets, footer as well. So let's start by making tiny changes so you can see the process of working with this builder. Let's say that I want to remove the numbers here for these sections. Well, these, if we click on them, you can see that they're basically images. And you have certain controls for them here. You can choose, the alignment. But in our case, we want to delete them completely. So I'm just going to choose delete and we're good to go. If I want to change the text here, I can click and that's going to open up this editor. And I can say key benefits of using the app. It's just like that, super simple. Now, what about this area? Let's say I want 3 columns instead of 4. And if we hover on each one, we can see that here it says 1/4. That's a fourth of the available space. These are columns, basically. So let's go ahead and delete this column. And then we're going to change the size of the others by increasing like so. So now we have 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. And we can go as low as 1/6. And we can go higher afterwards, like 2/5, a second, and so on. So just by using plus and minus, you can figure out the exact size that you want for these columns. Now, let's click inside. And for this element right here, we have the regular content. So we have an H3 and a paragraph. But let's say I want to change this. The content, but also the tag itself. So instead of an H3, I want to use an H4. And this is actually a nice editor because it gives you error indicators telling you, hey, tag must be paired because I have an H4 here, but an H3 here. So I can change that as well. And you can see the changes taking place in real time, which is really cool. And then let's change this and say dark and light modes, just as an example. The stuff that you see here in orangey yellow, these are actually shortcodes. So you can click on one of them, edit, and you can choose the height. Let's say I want 32 here, and you can choose the style. You can choose whether or not you want a line. You can define colors, whether or not to use a theme color. There are lots and lots of options. And when you're done, you just hit update. And this one is also a shortcode. So you can upload a different image here if you want from the media library. Let's say, for example, I want this icon, right? So I'm going to select it, hit update, and now that's changed. Same goes for the text. I can just click here and change the text as I see fit, like that. And when I click just outside, you'll see the changes taking place. Pretty cool. And then you can do the same for the rest. You can change the H4 here. You can edit the content. Super, super simple. Now, let's move on. And let's say that I want to get rid of some sections, right? So these sections, as you can see, they have a wrap or a container element. So you can start by deleting the section itself or the content, and then delete the actual wrapping element. And it's gone. Let's say I also want to delete this. I can simply delete the entire wrap, and it's gonna take the content with it. Let's go ahead and get rid of the element here. And if you remember from the last or from the previous lesson, I said that not all the colors from the page can be changed from the theme options. Some are set inline for certain elements. And this is one example of that. If we select this text, you can see that we're using an inline style that defines a different color. So we would need to delete that, and in which case this text will use the color defined in the theme options. It will inherit that color. And we can do the same here, right? You can see that we have some colors applied that maybe we don't want. We can do the same here and for this. So I think you get the point. So once everything is said and done, hit update. If we open the live page, right, you can see some of the changes that we made right here. Pretty cool. Some of the elements here are just images like these quotes. And see how they're a bit blurred? I'm not actually sure you can see it on the video, but they're kind of blurred because they are PNG files, I believe. Yes. So whenever possible, try and use SVGs because they will retain their quality and their sharpness regardless of what screens you're displaying them on. So they're a much better alternative as the SVG. And if you want to change this, of course, you can just click on it, edit, and browse for a new image from the media library. Okay, let's see what else. Some of these elements are, of course, images. So if you would like to edit this type of content, you need to replace the images with your own. Here, let's get rid of this element as well. Here we have another shortcode for this drop cap. So if you want to change this background, well, we can simply use the slider here. We can paste in our own color or choose it from the picker, and that's going to be ready to go. Let's say I don't want this image or this text or this text, right? Or maybe this, or maybe this button, right? So it's really easy to delete. Maybe I want to add another element to this place here. Well, I can use this list to find the element that I want, or I can go right here under pre-built sections. And you can see there are a few of them. For example, text plus image, image plus text. So the other way around, text in columns. All right, so let's choose, for example, image plus text. We'll grab this, or actually we need to insert this. And it's going to insert it by default at the very end. And just to bring it up to the location that I want, I can grab it and I'm just going to scroll up until I find the exact place I want to use it, which is right here. Right, and here it's exactly the same thing. You can click on each individual item and you can make this smaller, of course, like so. You can make this bigger. You can edit the image. You can change the text. And if you want, of course, you can get rid of certain elements. What else? Maybe I think I'm going to get rid of this section and this section. So you can see that even if you're using a template, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use all of it. You can just customize it to fit the content that you would like to display on that website. With the Live Builder, we also have these types of components. In my case, this is an FAQ component. You can give it a title. This is optional. And if you want to edit each individual question and answer, you can just expand one of these. You can enter your question here, and that's going to update automatically. And then you can enter your answer right here. Just be careful about some of these HTML elements. Do your best to keep them in the same place. So for example, when you deleted that content, you might accidentally delete the end span here, and that could result in some errors down the road. So just make sure you keep all the elements intact and you only, delete the content and not the markup, unless of course it's absolutely necessary. But usually that markup is there for a very specific purpose. And what else? Maybe, get rid of this as well. Yeah. This is a contact form that's made with the Contact Form 7 plugin. So we'll go ahead and edit that in just a little bit. For now, let's say I want to display this call to action area somewhat differently. I want everything to be aligned in the middle, and I want this to be above the two icons, right? So how do we do that? Well, let's select this one. Let's increase the size to 1 out of 1. And we'll also align the text to center like that. And actually, let's use an H1 here because I want that text to appear much larger. And then for this section, again, let's make it a full width like that, and align the text to the center as well. And as you can see here, we also have mobile text align. If we want to do that differently, we can specify that right here. And let's hit update. So now let's do a refresh. And if we go all the way down to the contact, right, we can see the new layout taking place. Now, what about this contact form? Well, you can go to, let's exit back to WordPress here. And you can go to contact, and you'll find the contact form right here. You can edit that form from here. And here under mail, you can actually configure where to send the email, a from address, the subject, and of course the message body. And you can use these kind of placeholders to configure the message or the subject. So for example, email from, and you can say your name. And your name is basically the text that's being entered right here in the your name field. And when you receive an email, the subject is going to say email from Adi or whatever you entered in that field. And for setting up the email, you can find, or you can follow the instructions found right here. And once everything is done, you can go ahead and save it. Now, what about this footer right here? Right? How do we change, for example, let's say I want to get rid of all this content. Well, we can't do that from the Muffin Live Builder because we don't have access to those elements. But we can go to actually appearance. Let's see where you can find it. Customize. Let's leave this page. And we'll go to widgets, footer 1. And as you can see, this displays the exact widget that we have here. So we can click on it. We can remove it. And then we can go to footer 2. You can click it. You can also edit if you want to keep it. You can edit its contents here. So remove that. And we'll do the same for footer 3. and footer 4, which is just an image. And just like that, we got rid of that footer. So let's hit publish. And now I have the problem that I don't have enough space on the bottom compared to the top, right? So for that, we will need to go back to this area right here. So I'm going to select the entire wrap or the parent element. And if we scroll down, you can see that we have 110 pixels on the top and 0 on the bottom. So we can match that or enter a different value here, update. So now on the live website, you can find that updated section. Very, very simple. The customizer is also the place where you customize the menu that's being displayed here. So we need to go back to menus, main menu, and then you can drop the individual fields here and you can change the navigation label. You can change the URL for that link. So that's users. I'm going to go ahead and remove these numbers because I don't really like them. Features. I believe we actually removed that section. So let's remove the link as well. We just have this one and this one. And of course, the Buy Now button currently goes to the Betheme URL on ThemeForest, but you can change that to whatever address you want. So let's say buy my product. Okay. And now let's save, refresh. And now the menu is updated as well. We forgot the top actually. There we go. So now the navigation is updated as well. We got rid of those footer widgets. We made some edits to this section as well. Also to these sections, we added our own content in the FAQ element. And just by using the exact same process, you would go through each section, edit the content, right? Change the text, change the images, add new content. It's really simple. Visual builders make this task super, super simple. All right, so with these key customizations out of the way, we're gonna wrap up this course right now. But before we do that, let's take a look at a few key takeaways. Visual builders make it super simple to edit the page content live. Sometimes visual builders apply colors inline directly to the element markup. Certain elements like the footer widgets or sliders cannot be edited directly by the visual builder. All right, and that's about it for this course. It was just a quick introduction to building websites with the Muffin Live Builder, and I hope you got some valuable information out of it. As you saw, there are a lot of pre-built templates that come with the Betheme. So whatever website you're trying to build, I'm pretty sure you'll find a template that suits your needs. So Betheme is a really solid choice. Plus, it has this amazing visual builder that you can use to simplify your work by a huge margin. With that said, thanks a lot for watching this course, and don't forget to check out the Envato Tuts Plus YouTube channel and subscribe to learn about Adobe XD, WordPress, and much more. I'm Adi, and until next time, take care.